When people talk about tech titans, the same names always dominate. But there's another tier of power that rarely trends. The men who don't just build products, they own the rails the digital world runs on. These are the operators behind enterprise software empires, telecom infrastructure, private equity machines, and crypto markets that move billions on quiet days. They didn't inherit Silicon Valley. They fought through barriers, timing, and brutal leverage plays to carve out ownership in the most complex parts of the modern economy. This is a countdown of the richest black men in tech, and the closer we get to number one, the more you'll realize the real money isn't in apps, it's in control. Number 7. Arthur Hayes, the crypto rebel. We begin our descent into digital wealth with the Wild West of the technology sector, cryptocurrency. And no figure represents the volatility, genius, and sheer audacity of this world quite like Arthur Hayes. While the other men on this list built their fortunes in boardrooms and plush offices, Hayes built his in the digital trenches, creating a financial instrument that would forever change how the world trades crypto. Hayes is not your typical tech founder. A former equities trader for Deutsche Bank and Citigroup in Hong Kong, he saw the cracks in the traditional financial system early. He realized that while Bitcoin was revolutionary, the infrastructure to trade it was amateur at best. In 2014, he co-founded BitMEX, Bitcoin Mercantile Exchange, not just to be another exchange, but to introduce professional-grade financial derivatives to the crypto market. He pioneered the perpetual swap, a product that allowed traders to bet on the future price of Bitcoin without an expiration date. This single innovation became the most traded product in the entire crypto ecosystem, generating billions in daily volume. At its peak, BitMEX was handling trillions of dollars in trading volume annually, and Hayes was the face of this financial revolution, brash, brilliant, and unapologetically wealthy. He didn't hide his fortune. He lived the life of a digital king, operating from the penthouses of Asia and challenging the global banking establishment with every blog post. His essays, often written from luxury ski resorts or yachts, became required reading for anyone serious about the future of money. However, with great disruption comes great scrutiny. Hayes faced legal battles with the US government regarding banking regulations, a conflict that forced him to step down as CEO. But here is the lesson in wealth retention. Hayes didn't lose his fortune, he diversified it. Today, he operates a family office, Maelstrom, that invests heavily in the next generation of decentralized finance and infrastructure projects. He remains one of the largest individual holders of GMX, Ethereum, and other high-value tokens. Arthur Hayes represents the new money of tech, wealth that is liquid, borderless, and resistant to censorship. He proved that you don't need a factory or a legacy to become a tycoon. You just need to understand the code of money better than the banks do. But while Hayes thrived on volatility, our next titan built his fortune on the exact opposite: absolute boring predictability. Number 6. Frank Baker, the private equity operator. If Arthur Hayes is the storm, Frank Baker is the anchor. As the co-founder and managing partner of Cirrus Capital, Baker operates in a sector of technology that rarely makes headlines but generates massive, consistent returns. Deep value investing. While venture capitalists chase the next hot app, Baker buys the companies that already run the world, the mature, essential telecommunications and tech services firms that generate cash flow regardless of whether the economy is up or down. Baker's journey to the top of the financial food chain began at Goldman Sachs, but he quickly realized that the real power wasn't in advising deals, it was in owning them. He co-founded Cirrus Capital with a specific thesis. Technology companies eventually mature, and when they do, they need operational discipline, not just growth hacking. Cirrus Capital raises billions of dollars from institutional investors to acquire these companies, strip them down, optimize their operations, and sell them for massive profits. This is the industrial side of tech wealth. Baker isn't writing code, he is engineering efficiency. His firm has managed investments in companies like mission-critical telecom software, digital marketing firms, and secure transaction processors. These are the plumbing of the internet, invisible to the average user but essential for daily life. When you make a call, swipe a card, or store data, there is a chance a Cirrus Capital company is involved in the process. Baker's personal wealth has allowed him to enter the rarefied air of philanthropy and high-end real estate. He famously paid off the tuition balances for nearly 50 seniors at Spelman College, a move that cost millions, but signaled his commitment to Black excellence in education. He lives quietly but powerfully, holding board seats and influence in circles that connect Wall Street to Silicon Valley. Frank Baker proves that you don't have to invent the future to profit from it. Sometimes the smartest play is to buy the past and make it run better. But our next entry proves that sometimes the simplest ideas, the ones that solve a headache we all have, can turn an immigrant from Nigeria into a billionaire. Number 5. Tope Awotona, the SaaS unicorn. Most tech billionaires have a story about a vision that came to them in a dream. Tope Awotona's vision came from frustration. He simply wanted to schedule a meeting without sending 10 emails back and forth. That frustration birthed Calendly, a tool so ubiquitous that it has become a verb in the corporate world. But the path from Lagos, Nigeria, to the Billionaires Club in Atlanta was anything but a straight line. Awotona immigrated to the United States as a teenager, witnessing his father's tragic death in a carjacking in Nigeria, a trauma that fueled his relentless drive. He didn't start as a coding prodigy, he started as a salesman. He sold enterprise software for companies like EMC and Dell, learning the pain points of corporate America firsthand. But he also had the founder's itch. He launched a dating site. It failed. He launched a site selling projectors. It failed. He launched a garden tool business. It failed. Most people would have quit and taken a safe corporate job. Awotona emptied his 401k, maxed out his credit cards, and poured everything he had into one last idea: a scheduling link. He built Calendly in 2013, not in Silicon Valley, but in Atlanta. And unlike the typical tech story, he didn't go begging to venture capitalists who didn't understand him. He bootstrapped. He grew the company to profitability on his own terms. This is the power move of his story. Because he didn't dilute his ownership early on, when investors finally came knocking, Awotona held the leverage. When Calendly raised capital at a $3 billion valuation, Awotona still owned a massive majority stake in the company. That is unheard of in the unicorn world. It made him one of the wealthiest Black tech founders on the planet almost overnight. In a world where everyone is trying to build the next complex AI, Tope Awotona teaches us that the biggest fortunes often come from solving the simplest problems. If you want to understand the mindset of founders who bootstrap their way to billions, I've tagged a list of essential business biographies and strategy books right here on the screen. Study them, because ownership is the only true wealth. Today, Awotona lives in Atlanta, where he is building a futuristic mansion that reflects his status as a new king of the Black Mecca. His wealth is clean, liquid, and growing with every meeting booked on his platform. He represents the dream of the immigrant entrepreneur, the ability to see a problem, fix it, and own the solution completely. Number 4. Strive Masiyiwa, the infrastructure king. If Tope Awotona solved a problem for office workers, Strive Masiyiwa solved a problem for an entire continent. As the founder of Econet Wireless, Masiyiwa is the man who put a mobile phone in the hands of millions of Africans, battling dictators, monopolies, and bureaucracy to build a digital empire that spans from Cape Town to Cairo. Masiyiwa's story is a thriller. Born in Zimbabwe and educated in Britain, he returned home with a vision to launch a mobile network. The government said no. They tried to protect the state monopoly. Masiyiwa didn't just accept it, he sued the government. He fought a 5-year constitutional legal battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court of Zimbabwe. And he won. That victory didn't just launch Econet, it liberalized the telecommunications sector for the whole region. Today, Econet is not just a phone company, it is a technology conglomerate. Through its subsidiary, Cassava Technologies, Masiyiwa is building the digital railroads of the future. Thousands of miles of fiber optic cables connecting African cities to the rest of the world. He owns Liquid Intelligent Technologies, the largest fiber network on the continent, and massive data centers that power the cloud for Africa's booming tech ecosystem. Based in London, Masiyiwa lives at the intersection of global power. He sits on the board of Netflix and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He and his wife, Tsitsi, have paid for the education of over 250,000 African orphans through their Higher Life Foundation. His wealth is infrastructure-heavy. It's in the towers, the cables, and the satellites. He owns penthouse apartments in New York's El Dorado Tower and estates in the UK, but his true legacy is the connectivity of a continent. Strive Masiyiwa proves that in developing markets, technology isn't just a luxury, it's a utility. And the man who controls the utility controls the future. Number 3. Dr. Dre, the cultural technologist. You might know him as the architect of West Coast hip-hop, the producer who discovered Eminem and Snoop Dogg. But in the boardrooms of Silicon Valley, Dr. Dre is respected as the man who pulled off one of the greatest tech exits in history. He didn't just sell headphones, he sold a culture, and he forced the biggest tech company in the world to pay a premium for it. The genius of Beats Electronics wasn't the sound quality. Audiophiles will debate that forever. The genius was the branding. Dre realized that Apple had conquered the phone and the computer, but they had ignored the one piece of tech that sat on your head. Headphones were boring, beige plastic tools. Dre turned them into fashion. He turned them into status symbols. By partnering with Jimmy Iovine, he integrated Beats into music videos, sports arenas, and the lifestyle of the rich and famous. When Apple bought Beats for $3 billion in 2014, it was the largest acquisition in Apple's history at the time. Dre's cut of that deal instantly vaulted him into the financial stratosphere, making him the wealthiest man in hip-hop at the time, and establishing a blueprint for artist ownership. But the wealth didn't stop at the sale. That cash injection allowed Dre to diversify into a massive real estate portfolio, including a $40 million mega mansion in Los Angeles that was once owned by Tom Brady. He invests in music catalogs and tech startups, operating with the quiet confidence of a man who changed 2 industries, music and consumer electronics, in a single lifetime. Dr. Dre represents the fusion of celebrity and technology. He showed that a black creative could do more than just endorse a product. He could found the company, design the product, and sell the whole thing to Tim Cook for 10 figures. Number 2. Robert F. Smith, the software capitalist. At number 2, we enter the realm of super capital. Robert F. Smith is not just a participant in the tech industry. He is arguably its most powerful landlord. As the founder and CEO of Vista Equity Partners, Smith commands a portfolio of software companies that, if combined, would be the 4th largest enterprise software company in the world, rivaling Microsoft and Oracle. Smith started his career as a chemical engineer and then an investment banker at Goldman Sachs, where he handled mergers and acquisitions for tech giants like Apple and eBay. He saw a pattern. Software companies were incredibly profitable but often poorly managed. He founded Vista in 2000 with a strict playbook. He buys enterprise software companies, the boring B2B platforms that run payrolls, manage hospitals, and track inventory, and he fixes them. He installs his own management systems, optimizes profits, and scales them up. His firm manages over $100 billion in assets. This generates hundreds of millions of dollars in management fees and profit shares annually for Smith personally. This immense cash flow allows him to live a life of mysterious, high-end luxury. He owns real estate in Malibu, New York, and a $14 million mansion in Denver. He famously paid off the student loan debt for the entire graduating class of Morehouse College in 2019, a $34 million gift that showed the sheer liquidity of his fortune. Smith's wealth is significant because it is built on software as a service, SaaS. He understood before anyone else that software subscriptions are the most reliable revenue stream in history. While other investors were betting on risky startups, Smith was buying the reliable engines of the economy. He proves that the richest black men in tech aren't just the ones who invent the apps. They are the ones who buy the companies that make the apps indispensable. Number 1. David Steward, the titan of infrastructure. And finally, at number 1, we reach the summit. The richest black man in technology, and one of the wealthiest self-made men in America, is a man who once watched his car get repossessed from his office parking lot while he was trying to convince clients to trust him. His name is David Steward, and he is the founder of Worldwide Technology, WWT. Steward's story is the ultimate American epic. Born in Chicago and raised in segregation in Missouri, he faced doors that were literally and figuratively closed to him. He started his career in sales at FedEx, where he was so good he was named Salesman of the Year. But he wanted ownership. In 1990, he founded Worldwide Technology with a handful of employees and a mountain of debt. The early years were brutal. Steward went without paychecks. He faced bankruptcy. But he had a vision. He saw that large corporations and the government needed help managing their complex supply chains for technology. They didn't just need to buy computers. They needed someone to configure, ship, and install them at a massive scale. WWT became that partner. Today, Worldwide Technology is a behemoth. It generates over $17 billion in annual revenue. It is the largest Black-owned business in the United States. Its clients include more than 80 of the Fortune 100 companies, major federal agencies, and global telecommunications firms. If you use the internet, there is a high probability your data is passing through hardware that David Steward's company supplied and configured. Unlike Robert F. Smith, whose wealth is in a portfolio of companies, Steward's wealth is concentrated in his massive ownership stake of this single private giant. Because WWT is private, he doesn't answer to quarterly stock market earnings. He captures the profits directly. This has allowed him to build a fortune estimated at over $12 billion. His real estate portfolio is notoriously private, dubbed the Private Empire. We know of estates in St. Louis and vacation properties, but Steward operates with a level of discretion that old money admires. He is a devout Christian and a major philanthropist, believing that his wealth is a tool for stewardship, hence the name of his family office, Kingdom Capital. David Steward is the #1 richest black man in tech because he controls the physical reality of the digital world. He ships the servers, the routers, and the systems that keep the lights on for the global economy. He proves that while software eats the world, someone still has to build the table it eats on. From crypto and private equity to fiber networks and enterprise infrastructure, these men prove black wealth in tech isn't a side story. It's foundational. They didn't just participate in the revolution, they positioned themselves where the money compounds: ownership, recurring revenue, and assets that businesses can't function without. A few net worth figures are best understood as estimates, because private companies and private portfolios don't publish clean numbers. But the power is obvious. These are operators who built systems, not moments. Which of these tech titans inspired you the most? Did you know about the sheer scale of David Steward's empire? Let us know in the comments below. Hit that like button if you learned something new, and subscribe to Black Status for more deep dives into the hidden geography of wealth. I'll see you in the next one.